Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Broken Brian. And today we're going to be talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, I've already guessed that some of my contemporaries are going to hate this series, and I've got some people that I know are going to love this series. And I'm going to take a different approach, a different look at it, a multi point perspective, I should say. And the reason for this is with a short conversation with a friend of mine who loved Cowboy Bebop. Why did he love Cowboy Bebop? He never saw the original anime. And so I stepped back and thought about it. If I had not seen any of the source material for Cowboy Bebop and I watched it, I would have liked it. I still would have hated Vicious's uh, storyline. What they did with him just seemed dumb. Just even in that context, just seemed a little weird. But I do think we have to look at it this way. And the reason why is I believe, just from watching multiple adaptations over the years, the live action from animated adaptations have a three-prong approach by studios. One, to court the original fans. Two, bring in new fans. And three, squeeze every last stinking dime they can out of an intellectual property. So, let's take a look quickly at Avatar: The Last Airbender, brought to us by Netflix. Now, the good part about it does stick with the original stories. They didn't add anything tremendous or off topic. The casting was okay. Ozai, Iroh, and Sokka, perfect casting. I think those three actors did well. I think the only one I didn't really like at all was Azula's casting. She just didn't come off as a fierce warrior, but more like a spoiled child. And I think it has to do with how young she appears. Maybe I'm not sure, but she just seems like she doesn't fit that role. I think she did a good job in terms of acting, but as appearance, just seemed a little like she didn't quite fit the. You know what I'm saying? And I think that if I had not watched Avatar and Legend of Korra, I would probably enjoy this series and say it was okay. Overall, I would say it's okay. From someone coming in, never seeing it before, it's okay. Now I can sit down and go through it, break it down episode by episode, like a lot of people do to create more content. But I want to get right down to it. If you've never seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, and you don't want to sit through the entire animated series, I get that. This will be an okay watch. But here's the difference. We're talking about runtime compared to the animated series versus this series. Even though it's fewer episodes, the TV was like 23 episodes on average. We're actually talking about an hour less runtime for this series than the original. An hour. You know, that's not a huge difference. But the bad part of it is watching this, and I can't put my finger exactly why. But the entire series felt like I was watching the original at like three times the speed. Like everything just seemed to happen so quickly and just bang 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 bang. Like there was no transitions. It was just point. It was just it seemed like it was on fast forward trying to get through all this material. And I think they have to do that because the fighting sequences were a lot longer, a lot more elaborate. I didn't hate them. The one big question mark when I watched the first episode that really made me wonder if I was going to finish it was, hey, the air nomads and the Fire Nation are flying. Yeah, I know it's mentioned in several of the comic books and novels and stuff like that where that's possible, but we didn't see it all that often. And I will say one plus. Another good casting was Jed because I thoroughly hated him as much in this as I did in the animated series. He was just annoying, really, really annoying, and I did like it, but it just, as someone who's seen the source material and enjoyed Avatar and Korra, it was just, why did this need to be made? I don't, as a fan, I was like, I didn't want this, and you had high hopes for this because we got One Piece, and I never watched the anime for One Piece. On the announcement, I started watching it. It's like I've had friends that loved it and were like, "You gotta watch it, you gotta watch it." I'm like, "Yeah." Starting now, 1,000 episodes behind. No, I don't want to put my OCD through that. But I did it anyways. I'm not through the series yet, but I watched what I needed to and beyond just to get the feel for what I'm expecting. And I think they did a great job with that, with the adaptation of One Piece. I think they tried to do that similar here, but the co creators weren't involved in this as it was in One Piece. So I think there's a lot of things that were done, decisions that were made that just seemed odd. And since this isn't what I should have done was watch the animated, at least book one of the animated series before watching this, but it's only been about 3 or 4 years since I've seen it and gone through both series. But I thought I remembered enough, and I did. But there were parts where I was like, I think that's wrong. No, I was wrong. But there's parts that just seemed, even though they were correct, felt out of place. The execution just made it feel like it was me trying to remember the show from 3 or 4 years ago. It 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 didn't have that cohesion the original series did. There's so much that is just sacrifice in the storytelling and the character building for fight and action and building character and giving background to characters and story arcs that not necessarily terrible but also not needed. And I don't want to ruin this for anybody, but I do think as people who are fans of it, it's going to divide the community of fans like Star Wars or anything else. But I do think this is one that it's okay to watch. But if you're a fan, I mean, you can either look at like, oh, they did a good job, or yeah, they just didn't do a good job. I can see it both ways on this. And me personally, I'm putting it as meh. It really is. I just don't think it's great. I think it's okay. I don't even want to say it's good. I think it's okay. Like I said, three spot on casting. The rest just seemed okay. Like I didn't hate anything about. I couldn't point and be like, I hate this. I don't like this. And part of it is the animation in the original is very certain scenes, certain fighting scenes. A lot of stuff in with Boomy when Aang and Boomy fight, it's visually stunning in the series, animated series, and here it's they're trying to capture it, and that's the one thing that just kind of felt like it felt you could feel that the entire thing was on green screen. You can tell me that's a set, fine, but it appears like it's full green screen, and it just feels awkward. And I'm just going to say I liked it, but not enough to probably even if it gets a season two, if they do book two and book three, I may watch it, but probably not. Maybe enough to what make a video, but not enough for me personally wanting to watch it. There's just scenes in this. It was just, I don't know. It was just kind of like, why do I feel like I'm rushing through this show? And I'm not. I'm just kicked back in my chair watching on the TV, and it just feels like I'm got it on fast forward. The pacing was just awkward, and that got to me. By the end of the series, I was like, oh, thank goodness we're finally at the Northern Water Tribe. Let's get this over with. Because the pacing made me feel uncomfortable. And that's probably me being someone who's consumed all the Avatar series. I have a couple of the Kyoshi books somewhere. Don't know. I was trying to find them before this video so I could show them, but I can't find them. They're somewhere. But I I have to say, if you're a fan, you're gonna come down on you hate it, you love, or you like it. You're not gonna come down with you love it. I just don't. There may be, but I feel like a majority of the fandom is not gonna come down and be like, "Oh yes, I love this adaptation," like a lot of people have done with One Piece. If you've never seen it, it's a fun watch. It's a fun story, like the original. But honestly, if you're kind of interested in the story and you've never seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, skip this. Go watch the animated series. Guess what? It's on Netflix too. Go ahead and watch it. You'll enjoy it better. It seems you get more of the lightheartedness and the emotional impact more in the animated series than I felt like we got in this adaptation. So, the short and long of it is if you haven't seen it, it's okay. Go watch the animated series. You'll probably like it better. And for fans, you're gonna you're either gonna like it or you're gonna hate it. You're not gonna love it. But I leave it to you to watch and to form your own opinion on it. Because honestly, my opinion doesn't have to be your opinion. We can still disagree and still be friends. And like I always say, until next time, I love you all, and there's nothing you can do about it.